And we're live with the Art of Attraction with Dominey Drew. Thank you so much for joining me today. Just checking on a couple of possible errors here about what's happening with my recording equipment. Excuse me for just a second here. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be together very shortly. Hi, everyone joining me on Facebook Live. All right, great. So we are live with the Art of Attraction with Dominey Drew. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. This is the Art of Attraction podcast. Feel free to subscribe and download and listen to all of the episodes. I just came across someone the other day who told me they binged my entire podcast. I was doing an interview for his podcast, actually. And it ended up, he was telling me that he'd binged all of my episodes. I was like, that is a lot of my voice. So I'm happy that makes you happy. I'm not sure I could binge all of my episodes, but I love the idea. Very happy to have you guys listen as much as possible. Of course, I really do create this content to help guys see, exactly what it is that is happening in your dating life, how you might be holding yourself back, and how to fix that, right? Because the thing about dating, I help single men attract life partners. If you are a regular on the show, you're aware of that already. And of course, the approach that I take to that is less about sort of dating tips and tricks, and more about what's happening on the deeper psychological levels that's holding you back from what you want, right? And so, why do I work there? It's really because the problems that men have with dating and women have with dating and people have with life are really not about that area, right? It's not about the dating. It's not about what you say when you approach a woman. It's literally about what's going on underneath the surface that comes across when you say it, right? So it doesn't matter what you say. It matters what you're communicating beyond the words. And I'm not just talking about body language, although that's big. I'm not even just talking about the psychological, although that's also big. It's these these underlying beliefs, these deep assumptions about yourself and about the world that project themselves, into across to other people. It comes across to other people, right? So I'll have people, I do a free intro call with people who are interested in working with me, which if you're interested, you can schedule at domineydrew.com/hello. And I do a lot of those calls, with people who are interested in working with me, and sign them up if they're a good fit. And I have people say to me, they're like, well, we'll go through the call and we realize that there are trust issues and there's self-worth issues and things like that. And then they'll sort of say, yeah, but I don't let them say, that's definitely not the problem. It's not the trust issues that's keeping me single, because I don't let them see it. I don't let the self-worth issues come up when I'm with women. Oh, okay. So you have a fundamental, like soul level belief. It's not really soul level, but it's pretty close, that you're, let's say, not enough, right? You're unworthy. And then you think you're just going to hide that when it comes time for you to be in front of a woman? How do you think that's going to work, right? How do you think she's not going to be able to tell? And this shit is all subconscious, right? So it's incredibly deep and it's incredibly powerful. Remember, and I say this on here a lot, the subconscious always wins, okay? It's more powerful than whatever you do, which is why I work there rather than teaching your conscious mind what to do, right? That's actually not that necessary. Because what you do, again, it's just not really the point, right? It's not what she gets. You can say, hey, I think you're great and I'm an amazing person and you should date me. That's a great pickup line, by the way. I highly recommend that. And uh, and she's, and if what you believe under the surface is I'm worthless, then all she's going to experience, even not consciously, she's going to be like, oh, that guy, maybe knows what he's talking about or doesn't. But what's going to communicate is I'm worthless. Okay. So I work there because it's literally the most effective place to work, right? It gets results the fastest. It gets right to the point, I'm very direct, not being gentle necessarily, but directness is how I get results so quickly. I don't beat around the bush a lot. I don't spend a lot of time talking about things that aren't the point. Okay. Instead, and this is how I'm able to take people who have struggled with their issue for years or decades, and within a matter of just weeks, really, they're able to completely turn around. All of a sudden, things that have been happening their entire life make sense. They suddenly understand why those things are happening and exactly what they need to do to fix it. That's my sort of, promise with my business is I'll show you exactly what you're doing wrong and I'll show you how to fix it. It's not that you're doing something wrong, but again, you have 1 foot on the gas and you have 1 foot on the brake, and you don't know that you have a foot on the brake, right? But you can tell that you have a foot on the brake if you don't have what you want. Okay. So if you really want a partner or someone who will stay, or a woman who wants you, or there's some sort of goal. You want a woman who's gonna wants to start a family with you, and you don't have that, then there's something in the way. Okay, it's either not really what you want, or you're blocking yourself from it in some way. That's just how the universe works. I've studied it for a decade and a half, and consistently, this is the way it works. So today, I'm actually really excited about the show today. I have a great show for you today. I really want to talk about self-care. Okay, and that may sound really boring. Stay tuned. It's not going to be. Okay. Self-care is actually imperative to attracting the right woman. Okay. And I mean the right woman. I'm not talking about actually it would work for both. I was literally about to say, I'm not talking about getting laid by the masses, but actually this will help you get laid by the masses too. So whatever kind of relationship situation you're looking for, it's really, self-care is relevant. Okay. It's really quite incredibly relevant. So self-care. So why is self-care relevant? So self-care is directly linked to your attractiveness. Okay, to how well you attract, to how easily you attract, to whether or not you're magnetic with women. Okay. Happiness, health, fulfillment, purpose. These things are wildly attractive. Okay. Here's an example. If you're a guy, you're into girls, and you see women that you're attracted to, and you tend to be attracted to women who are healthy, right? Who are, fit. Men tend to be attracted to women who are fit, not because they're not women who are skinny, although many women think that's the case. And some men might be attracted to skinny women, but overall, it's not like the thinner woman wins. They're attracted to women who are healthy, regardless of what their body looks like. They take care of it, and it's in good health, and that is literally attractive. And evolutionarily, that's going to be the case, right? A person who is healthier is more likely to produce, healthy offspring. There's something that draws us to be like, I want to mate with that person. That person is healthy. Okay. Again, you don't need to be a fitness model. It doesn't matter how, muscular you are. It's not about that. It's about, are you carrying weight your body doesn't want? Are you Are you underusing your body? Are you overusing your body? All of these things will affect how people see you. Okay. So the point of being healthy, other than, having your, life last longer and being, and having less, disease and issues and things like that, is because that is about finding the balance, right, of what is good for your body. Okay. So it doesn't matter necessarily, eating great is wonderful. By all means, eat healthy food if you can. That won't make it or break it, though. What makes it or breaks it is if whether or not you're out of balance. So like, I don't eat, just exclusively organic vegetables necessarily and nothing else. I eat whatever I want for the most part, but I also I go to the gym, and, and I don't do that often. I go to one class that kicks my ass once a week. That's pretty much all I do. I do a yoga class every week, and that's it. And I'm in relatively good health. So it's not that it takes a massive amount, and it's not that you need to be a gym rat or whatever. It's about actually, what ends up happening when you start losing weight. I used to carry a whole lot more weight than I do now on my body. What actually ends up happening is you start getting more in touch with your body. Okay. It's not about getting smaller. Okay. If you are more large than your body wants to be, then it's about getting smaller. But for some people, it might be about getting bigger. It's about finding the balance where you are happy and healthy. Okay. Because that point is the point where you are most attractive. Okay. Where people are most drawn to you. And so if you are somebody who hasn't really gone to the gym a whole lot, which was me all over, it was so hard to get there, right? It was just really difficult. There was all this resistance and all this bullshit in the way. But when I did, what I was really actually avoiding, this is really interesting to me, is that I was avoiding being in my body in certain areas. Okay. So I was, I was uncomfortable in my body, didn't feel good. I was carrying extra weight. That never feels good. That by definition doesn't feel good. Otherwise, it wouldn't be extra weight. That's why it doesn't matter what size you are naturally. It matters that you are healthy for your size, right? Women or men don't want a particular type of person or a particular sized person, but that, taking care of yourself radiates, right? And so you end up really being in your body. For me, it was my belly, right? I had a lot of protection energetically and psychologically around that area of my body, or it manifested in that area of my body. But what it really was, it had to do with not being able to hold my boundaries. I had a fundamental belief that to say no to someone meant that you didn't love them. And loving is sort of one of my core qualities. It's something that I do as a default, and it's something that I did as a defense when I needed to protect myself. Still do from time to time, but it used to be just about constant. And so the distortion of I love you is I can't not love you. I have to love you, right? Then you're in this oh, wait, now I can't say no. And I sure as fuck didn't for many, many, many years. And that will tear you the hell down. Let me just tell you what, right? That will cause you to really betray yourself. And when I noticed this is actually an interesting story. I'm not sure if I've told this before on the podcast. So if you're binging episodes and I'm repeating stories, I apologize. But I went to two separate intensive 4-year schools. And one of them, I was just starting out, I was probably about 19 years old. And it was sort of on this little, little farm, little compound type of thing with different buildings. And I was walking from one building to another. And another of my classmates was walking towards me. And we get close, and I look up and I smile and I go, hi. And she goes, hey. And we walk past each other. And in that moment, I realized that it never occurred to me whether or not I actually wanted to say hello to her. That reaction that I had of like what looks like joy, we'll come back to that, was on autopilot. It was on autopilot. It was on default. Okay. So it was, you know, I was just doing what I thought needed to be done, right? Oh, well, I'm friendly. Everybody, I have to say hi to everybody because I'm friendly and I have to love them. I have to love you. I have to love you. Have to do it. I never had a thought that went, oh, I wonder if I like this chick or not. I think I had profoundly neutral feelings about her. It's irrelevant, really. The point is, it was on default. It was happening without me. I wasn't part of it. Okay. And that's how you recognize the defense, right? If you are, you know, if you're on default, right? If you are reacting, you know, a woman does something on a date and you react like, you know, kind of inappropriately to what actually happened, that shows you that there's a defense there. There's something where you didn't feel safe and you felt you had to react really strongly to protect yourself, right? My reaction, because loving is my sort of natural thing, was to kind of overlove, quote unquote. By the way, that's not love. I'm just comparing it to the natural gift. The natural gift is real love. The distortion is like, I don't know, faux happy bullshit, you know, that where I wasn't even connected to myself, right? Because I wasn't even checked in. I wasn't even like, I see this woman coming. How do I feel about that? Okay, I feel fine about it. I'd be like, hey, you know, that might be how I react now. Again, it doesn't matter. It matters that I caught it and I saw that this was happening without me. Okay. How did that relate to self-care? So healthy boundaries, which I'm going to come back to shortly. So let's start with the physical. Okay. So the physical, as far as self-care goes. So I'm talking about going to the gym. Going to the gym is great. You probably already know that. You probably have good reasons why you're not going, or you think you have good reasons why you're not going, or you just can't get past the resistance to going, right? By the way, if that is something you're struggling with, here's how to get out of that. Rather than trying to fight yourself all the time, because resistance is where you're fighting against something, okay? You know you should go to the gym, and watch the episode on shoulding. And instead of going, you end up just feeling guilty about it and not actually leaving the house, right? So instead of that, although that does sound fun, that's also endless, right? That doesn't move anywhere. You're not fixing the problem. You're not making a different choice. You're just keeping yourself stuck. Guilt as a whole doesn't really move. It doesn't really move anywhere. It doesn't progress you forward. It doesn't move through and out. It kind of just sticks a little bit. Okay. It's a little bit different than the other emotions. And so if that's an issue with you, go ahead and just sit down with yourself, quiet place, take a few breaths, and really bring your awareness down your body and really into your body more deeply, like out of your thoughts and heads, and come down. And after a little while, when you feel that, when you feel sort of like centered and kind of coming down, you will feel yourself slow down a little bit. Your system will slow when you come down into your body, because the head moves, the thoughts move faster than is absolutely natural. And drop in this question: what do I like about not going to the gym? Like, indulge the resistance. Okay. Let's say there's a really good reason, because there's resistance there, right? Otherwise you would have gone and you wouldn't be having this conversation. So acknowledge the resistance. Don't just keep fighting against it, like, you know, and losing day after day. That leads to not healthy, right? Forget physical health. That's now affecting your psyche, your self-worth, your thoughts, your emotions, right? Like, that's now causing more problems than if you just weren't going to the gym and being happy about it. Okay. Seek happiness in one way or another. That's what I think this episode is going to keep coming down to, because seeking happiness, following what makes you genuinely happy, leads you directly to self-care, to perfect health for you. Okay. Following that light, which I think I'm going to do another episode on. I actually just did sort of a short video on how literally like looking inward, finding what lights you up and following exclusively that is absolutely guaranteed. I don't use that word super often, guaranteed to lead you not only to the relationship that you want, but to your, the absolute best life for you on every single level. Okay. There's nothing more to it than that, really, actually. Okay. So that's an interesting thing. But yeah, finding that place, finding where your body naturally wants to go, finding what, keeps you in good health. That attracts. Okay. Because if you're feeling guilty all the time, that, it repels, pushes people away. Discord inside yourself pushes people away. Not handling your emotions, right? Not standing behind the decisions you make, not speaking your mind. All of these things, you get kind of like tangled up in yourself instead of just sort of letting things flow, trusting and letting things flow through you. And when you do that, it's wildly attractive. I mean, it's like a light switch. It's really kind of wild. So, so back to the physical. So, going to the gym, if you're experiencing the resistance to that, then look at the resistance, like respect your system a bit more. We're going to come back to this as well. Self-respect is a huge aspect of self-care. Respect your system. What is it telling you? I'm not saying don't go to the gym. I'm saying look at why you don't want to. Acknowledge that as real, right? Because otherwise, you're just denying reality. You're like, no, I'm definitely going to go tomorrow. You're delusional. You're delusional. You're pretending something is real that is not real. I'm definitely going to go tomorrow. This year is going to be my year. I am going to go to the gym every day. That's my New Year's resolution. Either A, do it, or B, don't fucking say that you're going to. You're betraying your system a little bit, betraying yourself a little bit by deluding yourself. Instead, take a risk and really look at what's there. Man, I really know that it would be good for me to go to the gym. Part of me really wants to go to the gym. Other parts of me do not want to go to the gym. Interesting. Let's explore that resistance. Right? Let's explore the part of you that says no. Because to deny that part is when you go, oh, I absolutely am going to go to the gym. Deluding yourself. Okay? Because you're not going. But if you tune in and you look at the reality, which is the fact that part of you says yes and part of you says no. That's the reality of the situation, right? You're split. Your intention is split, and the no tends to win more often. Even though you feel better when you come back from the gym, you've got all these good reasons, and you've read all the books, you've heard my podcast, you need to go to the gym. There's something that's stronger. Great. Let's look at that. I really want a girlfriend, but I don't have one. There's something stronger. Great. Let's look at that. Okay? Because if you're walking around saying, I'm not enough, but I want a girlfriend, and you're projecting I'm not enough, then you'll probably do something like, when a woman approaches you, or when you see a woman, you'll be like, okay, well, I'm unwilling to get hurt, unwilling to get disappointed, so I'm just going to reject her first. Or I'm going to demand that it be a certain way, and if it's not, then I'm out of here. I'm going to protect myself. That's not self-protection, right? There are people on Facebook Live who are like, I'm at the gym right now. I swear I went today, but I missed you. There's a friend of mine, yes, who I see at the gym every week I go. That's so funny. So you're doing double self-care, self-improvement, listening to podcast, and working out at the same time. I think you get bonus points for all of that. So explore the resistance. Okay, this is really, this whole work, this whole podcast, my entire coaching practice, all the success that I have with, huge numbers of people is really comes down to being real. Everyone says that, right? Everyone says, oh, I just like people who are real. I hate people who are fake. I just hate fake people. Do you know what I mean? Like I just really like people who are really authentic and real. Okay. Well, that may or may not be you, but regardless, actual authenticity is very different than pretend authenticity. I just got to be me, I'm just going to be exactly who I am. And if you don't like it, fuck you. That's not authenticity, people. That's another defense. And also a really bitchy accent that I seem to have a thing with. It sounds absolutely terrible. But that's not authenticity. That's you giving the world a fuck you and then being surprised when they don't respond well, or giving them another fuck you, when they don't respond well. If you don't like me as I am, then you can fuck off. Okay. I don't. But not because I don't like you authentically. It's because that's your intro statement. There's this sort of authenticity or demand that you accept me the way I am. If you're demanding people accept you, you are in defense, my friend. Some people are going to accept you, some people aren't. Can you be okay with that? Whew. Defense comes down. Can you feel the difference? It's not like this sharp outward jab. It's just like, man, I love it when people like me. I sure hope people like me. That would be great. And if not, I'm okay anyway. Okay, and we're going to come back to this a little bit later as well. So the gym, so just explore the resistance, Yes, it's going to move things. It's going to move things that are probably stagnant. That is likely, yes. Okay. Will you risk that? Can you be okay with that? Right? Other things with physical, the way you dress, okay? I've done a little bit about this in another episode on how to present yourself, but I'll just touch on it here because it really is akin to self-care. I have this wonderful screenshot of a text that someone sent me. He's actually not a client. He's just someone who listened to that particular podcast episode. And he said, it was the cutest thing. He said, I've never really thought about how I dress and whether or not that affects my dating life, but I have been single for a really long time. And I listened to your episode and I just decided, I started wearing gel in my hair, something like that. It was like some little change that he made. And he's like, and people are like, oh, and a nicer shirt or something like that. And he said, people started reacting to him differently. And he started feeling a little bit more confident. And he started standing up a little bit straighter when he walked. And he said it was really this pretty significant shift just from a tiny amount of care in your appearance, right? Now, if you're wildly far the other way and you can't stop looking yourself in the mirror, that's another thing, okay? If that's the situation, then it would be worth looking at how you feel about people seeing you as you are. Because if you feel the need to peacock, not if it comes naturally, if it occurs naturally, if the desire to dress beautifully comes in an upwelling, my God, for me personally, that's wildly attractive. I find that, guys wear really nice shoes and really put some effort. It doesn't have to be fancy or dressed up, just like that effort. They've looked at whether or not they look good and what they're wearing. You can tell, same as you have with women, right? You find women more attractive who, are just aware and maybe put a little bit of effort in. Also, there's a lot of women who put a huge amount of effort in. It goes back to the same thing. If you're needing to do that, what is that saying? What would it be like to be vulnerable and let yourself be seen without that? Okay. But as a whole, yeah, effort, and not to attract the other. That's not the intention, actually. It's the effect. It is what ends up happening, but that's not actually the intention. Okay. The intention is to help yourself feel better. You know, that kid who wrote to me did such a great job. You know, he just put a little gel in his hair, and suddenly, people saw him differently. And then, how much more confident he felt. You know, how much straighter he stood up. That's what it's about. Okay, and it's not about how you're, changing yourself for someone else, right? It's not about, oh, I'm not being authentic anymore. Be authentic. You know, he wasn't like anti-hair gel and then he forced himself to wear hair gel so girls would like him. You know, he was just like, oh, I've got this stuff. All right, let's try this. I don't mind wearing hair gel. And all of a sudden, I'm feeling better about myself. And guess what's significant about feeling fucking better about yourself? It's attractive. It's incredibly attractive. Okay, let's move on. So yeah, it leads to confidence, right? It's going to boost your confidence. It's going to make you feel better about yourself, make you walk differently. That draws. That is magnetic. Okay. So let's talk about the mental, right? Mindset. Shit. Huge. What are you telling yourself in the mirror when you look at yourself in the morning? Whatever you're telling yourself, people are feeling throughout the day. What are you really telling yourself in the mirror in the morning? That you're worthless? No one will want you? Are you compensating and telling yourself you're the best thing on the planet, but really you think you're a piece of shit? Remember, subconscious always wins. So notice, pay attention to what you tell yourself in your head because you believe you. Okay? I just did this, just did a little episode or a little short video that's on YouTube on the nice guy thing, right? Why nice guys think they finish last, why they tend to, and why they don't need to. Okay, really important. And in that episode or in that video, sorry, I just got distracted. Give me a second. We talked about standing up for yourself. But that's a little bit different. Oh yeah, the things that you hear in your head. So, so what you tell yourself has meaning, right? What you say to yourself, if it's unkind, makes a difference. You know, you believe you all the time. Okay, so if you're walking around in life, oh yeah, that's what I was saying with the nice guys. I was like, the first step to getting out of the nice guys finish last syndrome is stop fucking saying that nice guys finish last. Stop it. It's not helping you. It's not true, and you're making it true. You're creating something that does not even need to be there. Okay, it's bullshit to say that women don't want nice men. Of course we do. I mean, not all women want anything, but that's not a thing. It looks like it is, I understand, but that's not the case. Okay, but when you say it, that creates some shit. So we're moving really from the mindset to language, which I didn't even have in, as a thing to talk about today, but is also huge. If all you talk about is your problems and how you're single and lonely, that you get more of that. I'm not saying changing your language is going to fix it on its own, but it's definitely not helping you. And it is impacting you, So yes, it's going to help you to change that. It is actually going to help. Okay. So, so be aware of your thoughts and your words. Okay. Let yourself imagine how good it could be. Let yourself exist in that space just for a minute right now as you're listening. Let yourself just, drop out of your head. Stop sort of grasping on either to my words or to your thoughts. Let your mind relax. Let it relax. It's wildly overworked. I don't even know you probably, but I can tell you your mind is probably wildly overworked. Okay? Let it relax. What if things could be different? What if it were possible? Don't worry about whether or not you think it is. Don't worry about your past life experiences and how you think that's the secret to interpreting the universe. It's not. It's the one thing in the way of you accurately interpreting the universe, actually. We rely so heavily on our past experiences as indicators of what's going to happen next, as if our past could predict the future. That we then create the same future as we have in the past. What if it could be different? What if I could be someone who had a curiosity about life? I don't want to say positive mindset, because it's not about positive versus negative. That's not really a thing. Humans love that shit. It's not really a thing, okay? Your mindset is fine the way it is. You're existing, you're surviving. There's very good reasons why your mindset is the way it is. So I'm not going to shit on that, okay? That's actually incredibly sacred and very important. Having you be on autopilot is where the problem comes in, right? It's also very sacred and perfectly fine the way it is. And it, leads to suffering. And if you'd like to have less of that, then this is how, okay? There's nothing wrong with you. And if you want to be different, that's an option for you, right? So language and mindset and being aware of what you tell yourself, and then shifting that. Try shifting it consciously. Try telling yourself the way it wants to be. Try letting yourself be curious. I don't know. I'm 90% sure this girl's going to disappoint me, but, maybe not. Maybe she won't, or maybe I'll be okay even if she does. That's the point. It's not about her. Because if you'll notice what I did there, is I said, maybe she won't disappoint me. That puts pressure on her. It's your job not to disappoint me. It is? Based on what? If you're meeting a girl off Tinder and you never met her before, it's not her job to not disappoint you. It's not anybody's job not to disappoint you. For God's sakes, your parents probably disappointed you and they probably liked you a lot. So that's not a thing. If you're holding on to, and I have clients who do this, holding on to the way that the world should be, and then being disappointed when it isn't. And that is tough, guys. That is really hard. It's guaranteed to keep happening because you're literally setting life up for it. Yeah. So moving on. Okay, emotional. So self-love, the emotional is massive. The emotional is much more impactful to our life than we realize. Okay. We think a lot about thoughts. We talk a lot about language. We even talk about body language. And sometimes we talk about subconscious signals, but not on the level that I tend to, right? There's not a lot out there on that sort of functions on the level where I do, and the work that I do with my clients is even deeper, right? And the emotional is really, really important. Interestingly, who surprisingly for me, puts a really appropriate amount of emphasis on emotion is the law of attraction, folks. They understand how powerful strong emotion is. Emotion is what attracts, which is what the law of attraction is about, right? It's about identifying what you want and then letting yourself feel really, really, really excited about it. That draws. That's why affirmations, if done correctly, and a lot of people don't do them correctly, if done correctly, they will work. Yeah. And that's why, because you're feeling lit up and excited about it every day. And then you learn to, live in a lit up and excited way. Okay. So that's also a good tactic if you want to, if you want to work your, to adjust the mindset and the thoughts that you have. Okay. Sitting with it, but you have to do them correctly. Okay. You need to phrase them in a positive way, not like, I have no fear. Okay. That's a negative. The way the brain interprets that is just, it kind of doesn't process negatives. So it just says, I have fear, weirdly. So your conscious mind goes, oh yeah, I have no fear. But the part that's relevant, that's sort of hearing you in the background, is not processing that. And so instead you would say, I'm fearless. Bam. If that's what lights you up, and then pick ones that light you the fuck up. Light up, girl. Do it. Go. Be strong. Live your life. Okay. So yeah, being lit up, that's what attracts. Okay. This whole episode is about how to feel lit up. Okay. How to find what lights you up. I'm going to get there. It's going to be great. Okay. Emotional. So yeah, finding what lights you up emotionally. Self-love, man, sometimes I think the only real important thing is self-love. That's really kind of what everything comes down to. So how do you develop that? Okay. There is literally a process of falling in love with yourself that I did many years ago, and absolutely changed my life, changed the way people reacted to me, changed how attracted people were to me. That's for goddamn sure. So important elements of that, solid boundaries are really important to self-care and self-love. Really important. Okay. Saying no when no is the answer is really important. Checking in when somebody asks you if you want to do something before you just go, yeah, absolutely, or no, absolutely not. Checking in. What does your system want to do? Does your system light up at that idea? Does it go at that idea? Is it something in between? Check in. Okay. Your boundaries are extraordinarily important. And this actually feeds into where I was going next, which is actually, they all kind of go together. Solid boundaries, clear communication, okay, and self-respect. So solid boundaries you have those when you respect yourself, okay? So if you have a hard time saying no, or if you're one of those nice guys who, will, let women kind of walk all over them, then you're not respecting yourself. And remember, what you get in your life is a direct reflection of what's happening inside. So if people aren't respecting you in your life, it's worth looking inward and seeing whether or not you're respecting yourself. And boundaries are a great way to tell. Okay, if you're not holding your boundaries, if you're letting people walk all over you, or if you're over setting boundaries and you're like, no, nope, don't touch that. Nope, don't go there. What are you doing? Put that down. Right? If you're wildly setting boundaries, or you're over setting boundaries that are very strong and very rigid, then there might be fear behind that. Okay, so you need to make yours a little bit gentle. If you're letting people walk all over you and you're like, oh, it's fine, that's okay, I don't matter, that's all right, it's okay that you just treat me like a doormat, you can walk on me, I'm a doormat, it's fine, I'm okay with that. Yeah. Okay, there's no self-respect there. Stand up for yourself. What would this moment be like if you stood up for yourself? What would happen if I stood up for myself? Okay, clear communication. What would happen if I let myself be heard? Right? What would happen if I let myself speak and be heard? Be careful, you might actually get what you want. Okay, so you see these layers, and we're really just kind of on the psychological, emotional. This isn't the magic. I can get into some fucking magic. This isn't even that. This is just, how are you treating yourself, man? Are you out there looking for some stellar chick who's got it all together, and she's independent, and she's funny, or she's, whatever, but you're letting yourself be walked on by whatever woman you can find that you think is good enough? Self-respect, right? Boundaries, saying no. I'm actually not going to let you treat me that way. We can find another way, right? You don't have to be like, fuck you, I'm out of here. Okay? You could just be like, hey, I don't love when you do that. That's enough. That's a boundary. Hey, I actually don't want to do that. That's a boundary. Hey, I'm not really sure. I think I may need to take some time to think about that. Would that be okay? That's a boundary. Doesn't need to be a wall. Boundary's not necessarily a wall. Right? Boundaries don't have to be rigid. They can be flexible. They can be gentle. Listen, I'm really sorry. I don't mean to make you uncomfortable, but I have to say that I don't like when you treat me this way. It's a very gentle boundary, but you're still respecting yourself. So this is all done in your style, right? It's like the clothing. It's not that like, you should wear khakis because ladies love khakis, or you should always wear button-down shirts. It's like, no, you don't need to do any of that. Can, if you like button-down shirts, what do you like? Okay, it's about your style. It's not about what's fashionable. It's about your style. Where do you feel? What do you feel comfortable and confident in? What makes you feel sexy? Right? What makes you shine? Bam, we're back to the light. See, follow your light. What makes you light up? Are you wearing what you're wearing because you don't give a shit? Okay, fine. But don't expect to attract a woman who's interested in, a man who gives a shit, right? You're going to find women who are attracted to men who don't give a shit, which I'm not really sure is what you want to date. Or maybe it is, in which case, ignore me entirely. But, give a shit. Try giving a shit. Try getting dressed for the day, presenting yourself, taking some, respecting yourself. Okay? Not uncomfortably, comfortably. Okay, I really like jeans, but I can wear like a fitted shirt. Yeah, all right, great. That's attractive. That works. Find what lights you up and makes you feel good, confident, sexy. Not like, fuck you, I'll wear what I want. Okay. On your own? For how long? So that's self-respect, respecting yourself, whatever that means for you. And then, so that's the emotional, right? The self-love, the solid boundaries, the clear communication, the self-respect, the physical, right? The gym, giving you energy and making you feel confident and better about yourself, dressing yourself well, leading to confidence, the mental, the mindset, right? What are you telling yourself? What are you making true about your life? And then my favorite part, okay? The spiritual, the energetic, the actual light itself. Where is your light? This is the secret to attraction. This is it right here. Okay? What is your purpose? What drives you? What gets you out of bed in the morning? If you don't have an answer to that, and I mean right away, go find it. Forget the women, forget the dating. This is for you. This is about your life. How do you want to spend it? What are you doing? What are you passionate about? Right? That's another whole episode. What are you passionate about? And how to find and follow that light. Yeah, I'll do both of those. Are you passionate about something? Anything? Books, libraries, physics, dancing, art, people, psychology, children, pets, volunteering, historical architecture, the environment. Those last two are mine. And this work, mostly this work. The other two are close second. Okay. Man, I think about environmental shit and I light the hell up. I do. You know, I do this work and you can see me light up. You can feel me on the podcast lighting up. This is my fucking calling. This is what I am here for. I am doing what I am here for. And that, I gotta be real with you, gentlemen, is one of the best goddamn feelings I've ever felt. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's better than sex. And I've had some seriously amazing sex. I just realized I said that on air. I was trying to emphasize my point, okay? But yeah, this is what it comes down to, finding what lights you up. Maybe it's spectacular sex. Maybe it's teaching people how to have spectacular sex. Maybe it's, you know, being a high school history teacher. I don't know. Doesn't matter, truly, right? Passion attracts. It draws energetically. It's wildly attractive, you know? I get into my thing and I'm like working with people and I'm seeing them. I'm in my gift, you know, I'm spending time in, I once had a teacher who called it my genius. Not like me personally, but like one's genius, you know, whatever lights you up, that's your genius. Right? What's your genius? What lights you the hell up? What makes you happier than anything else? And then how much can you do it? I'm not saying if you're a banker and you're really into art that you need to quit your job and become an artist. It's not about making it a business. It's about spending time doing what lights you up. If you got to work at a bank, look, sometimes you got to work at a bank. Okay, fine. At least for a while. You can maybe look around for other things. Always keep your eye out, you know, for something you're more passionate about. Maybe you could work at an art supply store instead. I don't know. There's always a way. But find that thing that lights you up, you know, that purpose, that I want to say the word intention, possibly because it's what you intend, you know, you came here to do. Okay, that light is not it's not like a little Care Bear, oh, it sure would be great if I could follow my light and like ride a unicorn across a rainbow to my dreams at the end. Man, that's not what it fucking is. It is right here, right now. This is extremely real. What I am talking about is extremely real. Okay? It's absolutely embodied. Okay, it is measurable and repeatable. Okay, it is scientific, but we don't really have the tools to measure it. Okay, it is something you can always come back to. It always points in the same direction. Like, this is not an airy fairy, sure would be great if I could live my dreams type of thing. Okay, I've never really understood that phrase, living your dreams. Particularly, I don't tend to use the word dreams a whole lot anyway, because I don't know, it sounds kind of ethereal to me. And as you can see, I'm not really into the ethereal. Considering I went to a highly intensive 4-year energy healing school, I'm weirdly not into the ethereal. I mean, I did that and that was great. But it was not very ethereal. It's really not. It's very grounded. So when I say what lights you the fuck up, I mean like what, you know, like if you're not really lit up by anything and you're kind of one of those people who like thinks about your feelings. So you're like, yeah, I think I'm happy. Okay. The thing that lights you up gets you out of that. Like, you can't even stay in your head when you're really in the thing that lights you up, right? You just glow. You glow. So if you don't have that, go find it. Okay. That's your homework. Okay. That's what I do on my calls, on my coaching calls. I'm like, here's your homework. Okay. Your homework is go out and go somewhere new. Don't go to the places you've always gone. You know those places, you know those people. Go out and find what lights you up. Find it. Dive into it. Live it. Live from it. Okay? And you know, if you're, again, you don't need to, it's not about rearranging your entire life, but if you really love, you know, puppies and kitties, go volunteer at the Humane Society and do it like 3 times a week. Like, go spend your time doing the thing that you really like to do. That changes your field, your energetic field. Okay? It lights you up. That light is attractive. That is what draws people. So imagine if you lived in that light most days, right? If it's been your dream to be a stand-up comic, start going to some open mics. Who cares? Go, find it, risk it. There's nothing else to do in life but die at your banking job. I don't know. That's how long people work at banks, right? I don't know. It's not really my world. I mean, please don't actually die at a bank, but, you know, go DJ, go paint, go work with dolphins. I had this actually really fascinating experience with a really close friend of mine in college, and she was a psychology major, and she was going to work with children, become a psychologist to work with children. And she said at one point to me that, it's so funny, I haven't thought about this in a long time, but it's interesting because I wasn't doing the work that I'm doing now then, right? I was in college. But my response then is very much how I would respond now. She goes, yeah, I don't know, I'm not feeling that excited about it. And I think we were like seniors by this point. And I went, okay, well, like, let's take away all the studying and all the things you think you should do or whatever. If you could do anything you want in the world, what would it be? And you know what she says to me? She goes, I mean, in probably 0.5 seconds flat, she says, oh, I would work with dolphins and children with psychological problems. Okay, great. That sounds great. Why aren't you doing that? It's not like that's not a thing. Somebody will do that somewhere. Whatever it is that you want to do, it exists somewhere in the world. That is one of the gifts of having a world as globalized, right? And as kind of unified, well, arguably, but in some ways, i.e. you can go to other countries and do things in workplaces as ours, as the way the world is now. There's opportunity now unlike there's ever been in all of history, I think it's safe to say. So and just to finish that story, she didn't go work with dolphins. You know, she was like, oh, I can't do that. I have to just be, okay. But it's not like that doesn't exist somewhere. It's not like she couldn't have made a life like that. So try, when you do this, really removing all of the obstacles. Okay? Try removing all of the realism, quote unquote. I love it when people say that. It's so obnoxious. Oh, I'm not a pessimist. I'm just a realist. No, you're just choosing a different word for pessimism. You're just deciding what the future is going to hold and then deciding it's not going to be good. There's a pessimism part. But the first part is just blatant projection. Well, I can't work with dolphins. Okay. Have you heard that statement? Whether you decide you can or you decide you can't, you're right. Wildly accurate. Absolutely fucking wildly accurate. So when you do this, you know, one of the questions I ask on that free call that I do, which again, by the way, is at domineydrew.com/hello if you're interested in getting on the phone with me and talking about this stuff. One of the questions that I ask is, okay, if you could have anything you want in this area of your life, right, in your dating life, in a year, what would it be? And generally, people haven't thought about this at all. And that's okay. It's not like you should have thought about it. It's just, you know, it is what it is. But they're often unable to imagine themselves doing things that they really want. They go, oh, well, that's just not realistic. Well, I mean, I'd love to be married, but that's just not realistic. Really? Is no one ever married in a year? Thanks, guys. So when you do this exercise, when you reach out, when you look for your light, you have to get your mind out of the way. You have to get your brain out of the way because it thinks it knows what's possible, but it doesn't. All it knows is what's happened before, right? And a bunch of logic. And this is beyond that. Logic doesn't really apply in this way. It doesn't help you find your light. It's good in other ways. If you want to solve a math problem, logic is excellent. Okay. If you want to, find your gift in life, logic is not going to help you. Okay. So explore around, make it a game of imagination. Okay. If I could have anything I want, don't attach anything to it. Well, I can't work with dolphins. Forget the dolphins. What lights you up right here in this moment? It's just a game. Okay. Take all the pressure off, all the things that you think are possible or you think are likely. You have no idea. Okay. Remove that, relax your brain, let it rest, and explore and find that light, because that is what will draw the exact right people to you. Okay. That is what will attract. That's what will make you magnetic to the right women. Okay. People are drawn to people in their, in that essence, in their joy, in their happiness. So there's a lot to this, right? To this self-care. You've got the mindset, right? You've got the emotional, the self-love, the solid boundaries, the clear communication, the self-respect, okay? You've got the physical, taking care of your physical body, making sure that it's healthy, okay? Whatever that is for you. Dressing yourself, putting some effort into life, being intentional about life. That's what creates that confidence. Treat yourself well, not by being lazy unless you genuinely need to rest, but by doing what's good for your system. That healthy balance, rest, work, play, whatever. Okay. And then the spiritual element, find that light, find what lights you up and go do it, exist in it, let yourself be it. And, you won't need to listen to any more of my podcasts if all of that is done. But you should anyway, because it's all wonderful. All right, guys, that's enough time for me. That's all I can do. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this has been really useful. If you're seeing this on Facebook or you're seeing this on YouTube, please feel free to comment your feedback, subscribe and download the podcast. Visit domineydrew.com/hello to watch a little video of me about, learn more about who I am and what I do. And then gives you the chance to get on the phone with me if you're interested in doing that. And we'll help you see what it is that's holding you back and what it is you need to do about it and how I can help. So I will look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thanks so much, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.